A bit higher. There we go. Hey friends, I'm AmandaMuse. Welcome to my channel. I was gonna say, how are you doing? But I feel like that's a really loaded question right now. I gotta be honest with you. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, I've been having a really hard time to show up in this space. Well, technically just to show up has been particularly challenging. Can you believe that it's been 14 months? 14 months. I'm living in Ontario, Canada, and I think we're in lockdown 3, apparently, although the math doesn't seem to be working out because I just don't feel like we've ever come out of a lockdown, so that's been fun. I've learned that my family is not pandemic proof and that this year has been really challenging, And sometimes it's hard to even notice the day-to-day challenges because we get caught up in the things we have to do. But when the reality kind of comes back and rears its ugly head, it can be quite traumatic. I was trying to look of a less powerful word, but honestly, it is painful. I stumbled on a video recently. It was like an old vlog from a few years ago, so my life naturally looked a little different. We lived in a different house. My kids were significantly younger. This was about 5 years ago. But just like the day-to-day things that I would get up to, I was cooking more, or just at all, because I'm not cooking anymore. I was doing just little things like reading the newspaper, finding enjoyment in my day. And I found that in the last year, those really enjoyable moments are likely happening, but I'm finding it really challenging to find said joy. We know the specifics. I work from home, and so my job hasn't really been impacted, although I'll say, being a creative person working in a creative space, it's been really challenging to find things to boost creativity when I'm literally not leaving my house. Thankfully, the weather is starting to change, and so I'm feeling, all the happy feelings about bike riding and being in nature and just getting back out into the world, despite it looking really different. So I'm feeling that coming again, but it's been really hard to find ways to show up for my job. On the other side of it, my husband is a pilot and he has been grounded since March. And so he doesn't have a job that's been put back into the skies. And we're hoping that that happens at some point before the end of the year. But honestly, it's not looking that optimistic. And that is an incredible amount of stress that I am carrying, and that has impacted our family beyond our control. And I've noticed that there's things that I've done over the last year that have significantly helped, and then things that I've done that haven't helped. And I thought we could just break it down real simply, conversation like, some things that have worked, some things that haven't, and then you guys can share in the comments things that have worked for you, your experiences in this last year, because I know that they differ depending where you are living around the world. Here's what I know to be true that works. Moving my body, particularly in some sort of exercise capacity. Dancing is also great, but really sticking to some sort of workout isn't just great for my body, but it is exactly the medicine I need for my brain. I realize that there are also other forms of medication that people might need if you have a diagnosed situation like depression and those types of things. I don't have that. I do notice though, I'm super in tune with myself, and I notice when my mood starts to dip. And so for me, it was very closely tied to life experiences. I was diagnosed with skin cancer in February, subsequently had the skin cancer removed, but that whole experience was quite destabilizing. I'm not invincible. What? Like those types of moments. And not being able to tap into my community, my in-person, my village in real time proved to be really challenging. And I noticed I stopped moving my body. I stopped going for walks. I have 2 beautiful dogs and I'm often taking them for walks. They don't necessarily need like a big hike. I've got a huge backyard and they play and they run around and they have that excitement, that freedom. But Walking is super fun for me and I absolutely love it, and I notice I just stopped doing it. I haven't entirely picked it back up again, and I'm feeling the impact. I'm feeling pretty low, honestly. I then rolled my ankle last weekend and was again on pause for a week after only just 1 week of working out again. So it's requiring me to really be intentional with making fitness and movement a priority. The goals, like the end goal, is very different for me this time around than in the past. I'm not really looking to bulk my upper body or grow abs or whatever it is. I'm literally moving my body because I don't feel good. And the longer I stay sedentary, the worse I feel, truly. So that I know to be true. The second thing is I talk about tapping into my village. It's been rough. I am an in-person kind of social butterfly. I spend a lot of my day online engaging with you guys, my audience. And so when it comes to interacting with friends online, I'm a little bit slack about it, honestly. I get lazy and I just keep waiting for some sort of notice from the government that we'll be able to get together, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. In fact, it just keeps it feels like it keeps getting taken away. Another thing I know that works is talk therapy. I've spoken about my experiences in talk therapy over the years, and I made a point, I'm pretty sure it was in February when I got the news about my skin cancer diagnosis. If not just the month before in January, I started going back to therapy on a once a month basis. I don't have coverage in terms of benefits because I'm a sole proprietor and I didn't buy extra benefits for that. So I pay for it out of pocket, but it is worth its weight in gold to have somebody to just express, to just take what you're feeling with no shame and just put it on the table and talk about it. And also sometimes come up with solutions. Well, not solutions, I shouldn't say that, with tools that you can use and apply on the daily to help you maybe start feeling better. For me, what I notice, one little thing is it makes me really accountable. So I notice in the week leading up to my appointment, I start reflecting on what my therapist and I spoke about last month. And then I'm like, well, have I been doing that thing? Have I been practicing my breathing, my grounding techniques, these types of things? And I find it just holds me accountable. And that to me is really important in my life right now. So that's been really helpful. Another thing I know that's been working is getting sleep, good sleep. At times my anxious feelings can take over, and I've been experiencing a lot of night terror / panic attacks over the last 14 months, maybe less than 10, but that's a ton for me. I hadn't and haven't experienced panic attacks in that way for, oh my gosh, 8 years or something, a really long time. And they only really flare up when there's something significant going on in my life. Enter the pandemic, right? So it's not surprising, but it is extremely debilitating. I wake up completely drained the next day. It takes me a good 48 to 72 hours to recover from it because I feel just super zonked, emotionally drained, all of that. And that has ripple effect, right? My work, my family, all of these things. Then I'm not moving. You see the cycle. I'm not really sharing with anyone because of the shame associated with those feelings. And then I'm not moving my body because I feel tired. And then the negative feelings start to increase even more. So I've really been trying to create healthy sleep habits. I go to bed pretty much right after I put my kids to bed, and sometimes I've been falling asleep before they even go to bed, which is not great because then I get up too early. But making a point to try to be in bed and asleep before midnight. I'm often in bed by 10:30, and then I play on my Nintendo Switch. I love my Switch. At the moment, my favorite chill game is Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. I'll link it below. It's just very chill. It's like a farming, simulation type of game. I'm here for it. And I chill out. I've also been reading a ton of books. I have a Kindle on my bedside table, and I'm currently reading The Dutch House. And so I game for a little bit, and then I read for a little bit, and then I try to just kind of empty my mind and go to bed. And I've noticed in the last few weeks my panic has been reduced. My anxiety seems to be a bit better under control, because it's if you start thinking about it, it's running out of energy. For one, maybe because you're tired, and then not having an energy out, a release, through movement. So not doing that. So you're just like this buzzing person. And then, not having an outlet to talk about your feelings and how you're feeling. So you end up, if you think about it, I'm a very visual person, but you're like this ticking time bomb about to go off because there's no outlet, there's no release. I'm not a big fan of dumping all my feelings and all my stuff on friends or family. That could be seen as a flaw. It's just I'm not very good at it. I think that there's probably some stuff going on beneath the surface where I don't like being a downer. Not to say that there's going to be times where you're down and times where you're up and times where you're going to need to lean on your people, but I really try to be resilient and, capable of handling it myself. And when I can't, I try to outsource, like therapy, but it can be hard, So what have we covered? We've covered the movement, we've covered the community outreach, we've covered, talk therapy, we've covered sleep. I think the last thing is human connection. That's a big one. Loneliness is real. Those heavy feelings of, we start to doubt ourselves, our value, our self-worth. All of that stuff can really show up in strange ways. And I know that I feel so invigorated and rejuvenated after I've spent time with people I really enjoy. And so what I've been doing is trying to find a way to do that safely in person. And now that the weather has changed, and this was before, the big lockdown information, we were able to meet outside. And what I'm realizing is that as much as I respect the reasons why decisions are being made and, no indoor gatherings, or I don't even know, honestly, all the rules, but I'm pretty sure everything's canceled. But what I'm doing is, for example, tomorrow I'm going on a bike ride with a friend of mine. She's going to meet me at the park, and then we're going to just go for a bike ride. You're not close enough to each other that you're going to be breathing on one another like you can do it safely. And I need to prioritize those types of things because I am not okay. And geez, that makes me emotional just to say that. I'm not okay. And I think a lot of people are not okay right now. And it is so challenging to be going through a time like this and simultaneously sharing your life. It's obviously by choice, right? But I never anticipated we would be here. And my intent is always to find a way to connect, to showcase real life, to pull back the curtain on this creator life and show you a real family, a real woman trying to make it work. And I hope that by sharing this, that it reaches some of you who need to hear that message, that you're not okay, and it's okay to not be okay. And eventually, the clouds will part, the sun will come out again, and we'll figure this out. And I fully think that there's going to be fallout that has come from this. You can't spend 14 months cooped up in our homes and think you're just going to flip a switch and everything is going to go back to normal. There's stuff. I get overwhelmed in grocery stores now. What? There's this reintegration into society that's going to happen. It's almost like when I was living in Malaysia and I came back to Canada and I was having all of these feelings and someone in the comments said, "Oh, honey, you're experiencing reverse culture shock." In as much as it's a great thing to be home and, back into what you once deemed familiar, we have been 14 months living a very different life, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get back into the world, I didn't even really get a chance to talk about it, but I'm a mom of two for many of you that are regular viewers of my channel, and I am carrying, along with my partner, of course, but I'm just speaking from my own experience, I'm carrying the weight of them losing a year. There's so many little things that too much of this, not enough of that. The inspiration to go to school, the drive to do virtual school is super low. The frustration not being able to see friends is super low. It's really hard to find joyful moments, and some days are crap. Some days are really fun too, it's a balance. I hope this isn't a big doom and gloom video. I hope that there's some takeaways. When we talk about self-care, when we talk about that kind of stuff, I'm not talking about the basics of have a shower or drink a hot coffee, although those are very enjoyable things. I want to get to the root of, you feeling like you're taking care of yourself, like you're this beautiful plant like I have on my desk. Are you getting enough water? Like, do you get enough sunlight? Did somebody wipe your leaves down and make you look all pretty? Is your soil nourished and rich and staying healthy? Like all of this stuff. Are you taking care of yourself? And if you aren't, and if you're struggling, I really encourage you to reach out to someone who could help you, because feeling like this and feeling disconnected from our communities is not a normal experience, and it's hard. And that's all I wanted to share. I thank you so much for being here. I hope that this made you feel less alone. And I know that you're with me. I feel it. I feel the love in my comment section, in my messages. I feel it. So thank you for being here. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Sometimes I do weekly vlogs. Sometimes I talk about my life in Malaysia. Sometimes I talk about my candle small business. And other times we just talk about real, heartfelt stuff. And I'm glad you're here. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.